Hi everyone, I'm Liz, and welcome back to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch for Flosstube episode 73. Thanks for joining me for another Sunday Flosstube catch-up. I'm Liz, and I've got stitching and quilting to share with you today. So I want to start with a previous finish. It's almost Valentine's Day. I know next week's video will be the day before Valentine's Day, but I wanted to share one of my favorite Valentine's projects ever that I actually didn't finish, I think, until March of last year. But who cares? I'm enjoying it right now. And I'm sure people who have been here since last year will remember, but it's my heart quilt. So this is the Be Mine Heart. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to forget the name. I'm going to put the pattern, name, and designer on the screen for you. It's, I know it's a collaboration between Then Came June and somebody else, and now I'm totally forgetting. Then Came June has designed one of my favorite all-time quilt patterns ever, which is Meadowland. Any quilters out there probably know Meadowland, but this, I think it's the I Heart You quilt. I call it the like iPhone love bubble quilt. It's like on an iPhone when you double tap and love, an iMessage. So, I was inspired to make it when Rob and I first started dating because I saw the pattern and I was like, oh, it's so cute. It's like when we heart each other's text messages, which is super dorky, but that's why I made it and I love it. And I think it's just like, I kind of leave it up. I've left it up since last year, to be honest. I have plans to make more quilts of a similar size to switch out. It's in my hallway right now on these quilt hangers that I found that are actually super awesome. If I can remember the name of them, I think I can. I'll put a link in the description box. They're these kind of quilt clamps, and it's just like a super customizable way to hang wall hangings using minimal destruction to your walls. Like, what do I want to say? It's like very easy to set up, and it's adjustable for different sizes of quilts. So I highly recommend these. I think they're called the Classy Clamps. I'll put it all in the description box. But yeah, that is my I Heart You quilt. I followed the pattern exactly. The only thing I changed was I used a blue kind of speckle print from Cotton and Steel at the time. It's like Ruby Star Society designers, but they used to be Cotton and Steel, So anyway, so it was like a Cotton and Steel print, but it's like 5 years old and, I'm sure you can't get it anymore. But otherwise I stitched it, or I made the quilt kind of like as called for, and then I used that mustard as the binding, and I just absolutely love how that turned out. So I just wanted to share that with you guys since we're in the month of love. Does anybody remember my last Valentine's Day video last year where I did that like sexy opening? I was like trying to think, like I was last night or a couple nights ago, I was like, wait, is this my last video before Valentine's or is it next week? So I know I have another week, but I really don't know how I'm going to top last year. So I feel like I need to just like cut that intro out and bring it back this year because it was great. Okay, so that was my previous finish. And this week I have a new FFO to show you guys. I went ahead and fully finished my Mr. Marshmallow by Brenda Gervais. This is Mr. Marshmallow by With Thy Needle and Thread, and I stitched mine on 36 count Zweigart linen that I overdyed myself into this kind of muted hot pink color. And I used most of the called for colors, but I changed up my berries and maybe a couple of the greens just to fit my fabric a little bit better. And I used the called for buttons, and I thought it fit pretty perfectly in this 6x6 Mill Hill frame. So I think maybe if I had done it on 32, it would have been a perfect fit, but that's okay. I enjoy stitching on 36 count more than 32 count, so I went ahead and stitched mine on 30. And also I didn't have this finishing plan in mind. Hindsight is 2020. But anyways, if just in case you out there are thinking, I want to stitch that, I bet 32 count and a Mill Hill frame, because these Mill Hill frames are like $12. They're a great deal. And you would get a perfect framed fit. I mean, it's pretty perfect, but like, I like a little bit of a tighter margin, but I think this looks super cute. And I was texting my sisters and my mom this finish the other night when I finished it, and I was like, I can't wait till I have a bigger house with like a beverage bar with like a hot cocoa station in the winter, and this is totally gonna decorate it. So I'm just playing cross-stitch decorative fantasies. Daydreams, cross-stitch decorative daydreams. I'm just daydreaming about where I'm going to put this in a future house that I may or may not ever own. But because I think this would be super cute in like a kitchen area, but my house currently, it's like 1,700 square feet, which is fine for me and Rob. But our kitchen is very small, so there's not like, you know, counter space for me to just put out cute stuff. And there's also not a lot of wall space because our kitchen's like in the center of our house. And so the walls that are up have cabinets. So there's not like wall space in the kitchen for me to hang this either. But I put the little peg on it that Mill Hill includes in their frames. So this can just stand up on a shelf or on my entryway and be a cute little decorative piece until I get that beverage bar. So I did film myself framing this, and I just want to mention a couple things before I let that video roll. One is that I made a little mistake, not a mistake, but like I needed to correct something while I was pinning this, and you'll see that in the video where I thought I had my edges marked pretty accurately, and I went to center the piece on the board, and then when I tried it out in the frame I was like, oh no, I'm off. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up grabbing the chart and referencing the center lines, and I ended up using little pins to mark, you know, the exact center points, and then marked the center points on the foam board so that I could line up my centering pins, so that way, you know, the piece starts from the center and then I work my pins out, just to like help myself line this up better. So I'll let that video play, and yeah. Okay, so that was the finishing video. If you want to see kind of more in-depth with me talking through how I frame, I have a video for that, which I will link below. But yeah, just wanted to do a little, you know, sped up finish with me on this because, well, I finally have a ring light again. I haven't been really filming a lot of stuff other than Flosstubes this past month and a half because my ring light broke. And so for sitting down and doing a video like this, I can get away without using my ring light. But when I want to film something like on my desk or in other parts of the sewing room, I really need a light. So I finally ordered another one. This is my third one since I started Flosstube. So that's like 3 in a year and a half. I don't know if these are just not built to last or if I'm rough on them. I don't know. Either way, they're like 20 bucks, 25. Maybe that's my problem. I'm buying the like super cheap ones on Amazon, you know, but whatever. The cost of Flosstube, I have to buy a $20 ring light every 6 months. It's fine. Okay, so that is my fully finished Mr. Marshmallow. Okay, next up, I have a finish. I finished stitching my Heartstring Samplery Be Mine Biscornu. So this was kind of a finish last week because I had finished the top, but I started and finished stitching the bottom of it this week. So now I have all of the stitching done on my Be Mine Biscornu. And yes, you will see some little red stitches and threads in there. I'll explain that in just a second. Yeah, but I stitched this one on 40 count R&R Old Town blend. And I used the called for colors, except the red I subbed to Red Rocks by Weeks. And I'm just obsessed with how this turned out. This is like just my favorite color palette. And I love the birds with the little envelopes in their mouths. I just think it's so cute and cool. I was going to try and fully finish it this week, but I kind of ran out of steam because I had a lot of trouble stitching this bottom piece. I mentioned last week that I was worried because of how spread out all of the little motifs are. And so I talked about a few methods I was contemplating using. And so what I ended up doing was taking a strand of red thread and I ended up marking in 2 diagonals some little guidepost stitches. And so basically I just, if you look at like a cross stitch chart where the grid lines are slightly darker, right? That's like kind of your 10 by 10 lines. Most of the lines are, you know, thin black lines, and then you'll have a bold line every 10 stitches. And so basically what I did is I did the bottom left, like if you're looking at a 10 by 10 grid of cross stitches, I stitched an X in the bottom left corner of each 10 by 10 grid to work my way either up into the center or up into the corner to kind of get my guideposts made. The problem I had was in this corner. So I started, let's see, I started up here. Oh no, it was down in this corner. The problem I had was down in this corner. I was off 1 stitch in terms of length. So like my piece wouldn't have been square. So I ended up having to correct it. And so this little red heart is like 1 stitch off, which is hardly noticeable. So I'm fine with it. I had to rip out like 3 or 4 times on Monday and Tuesday night when I was working on this, and I was making no progress. And I was so frustrated that I had been working for 3 days to finish this bit of cross stitching and I had not gotten there. So I just felt like the first half of my week, I got nothing done. I mean, I was working on it. It just was slow. So that's kind of how I used some little stitches to mark my spot. And then of course I'm gonna, you know, frog these little stitches before I finish it, but I left them in there so I could show you guys what I did. I had also mentioned counting pins, and oh, I don't know if I have a pin sitting. I don't. Well, I have a needle. I can show you with a needle. But basically a counting pin would work the same way. You would pick a landmark, like if it would be, you know, the bottom left of a 10 by 10 block, and you would stick a pin, you know, in that stitch to mark off, you know, 10 stitches. I just found making little X's super easy to do, and they stay put and they don't poke you. So that's how I did it instead of using counting pins. I think if you're only counting like one direction and you're counting like 42, you know, something like that, mark it with a pin. But I was doing multiple little landing points. So I don't know. I just found it easier to use floss rather than grab a set of pins and mark it out. So that's how I ended up. Let me make sure I don't lose this pin or this needle. Yeah, so that's how I ended up marking out the back of my Biscornu. And then now I've got to finish it into a Biscornu. So I haven't done the back stitching around either of the pieces yet. And the reason is because I don't know that I want to join it that way. I mean, if it's the best way, that's the way I'm going to do it. But in staring at the pictures of the chart, you can see where those pink and red lines come together, that it doesn't look like the traditional Biscornu backstitch join right there. And so Beth doesn't list who finished her pieces. I might DM her and ask, because I was like, ooh, if it's a finisher I'm already following, maybe I could ask them how they finished this, like what method they used. Although would they tell me? Maybe that's like a trade secret. I don't know. Okay, I'm rethinking my plan. But either way, I just was staring at this thinking, okay, that doesn't look backstitched and whip stitched together because the way the colors join perfectly. And so I'm like, even if I did backstitch and whip stitch, what color would I use? Because I really like how the red and pink line up against each other. So I'm almost thinking I might try to use an invisible ladder stitch that I use when I sew up pillows. So I'm going to try a couple different things. We'll see what happens. But for now, it's a finish. Mark it off the whip list, and yeah, super cute. I love stitching this one. Highly recommend if you are wanting to stitch a Biscornu or a Valentine's chart or whatever. This does not have to be done on 40 count. I think she calls for 36 count. And I know Helen D is stitching it on 32 count. So, or no, 16 count Ada. So I think you can stitch this on anything, but anyways, that's my finish. Okay, so next up, I worked on my Quaker Snowflakes by Hello from Liz Mathews, and here is where I'm at. I'm stitching mine on 40 count Picture This Plus Fathom with NPI silks, but I'm using my own NPI silk colors. This one is 991B, which I think she called for 991, so it's like very similar. I just didn't have 991, so I used 991B. And thank you guys all so much last week for your input on my little counting mistake. So I got a lot of the same comment over and over, which was make the same mistake on the bottom so that everything lines up. Okay, so I don't think that's going to be what I do. And I just thought I might explain why, because I think could certainly be a solution in some cases, but I think in the case of this pattern, it won't really work out because I'll put the picture of the pattern up on the screen because I have the PDF. So I don't have the chart to like mark and show you what I'm talking about. But on the bottom border, it's 2 triangle borders on the bottom, 1 on the top. So already, if I make the mistake on the bottom, I've got to make it twice in the same spot on the bottom to shrink the whole bottom. And I feel like that's going to call more attention because that would be more obvious, I think, on the bottom where everything's mirrored to have 2 small triangles lined up with each other. So that's one reason I don't want to do it, is because I don't want to call more attention to the mistake. The second reason I don't want to do it, and the biggest reason, is because if I make the same mistake on the bottom and I mess with the bottom of the pattern, then I've lost like all my guideposts. This pattern is a Quaker and nothing is lined up perfectly. So I'm really counting from other objects. Like I stitch something and then I count from it to position my next items. And I feel like if I start messing with the bottom border and I've already messed with the top, then I have no guideposts to align things. And I don't want to rework the whole pattern just for being 2 stitches off up top. So my plan is to work all the way down to the bottom. And the only reason I haven't done it is because I don't have a green MPI that I want to use for the trees. The trees in the pattern call for a green, and then there's like a little red bird. And so I have the red or the pink that I want to use, but I don't have a green. So that's why I haven't gone down and done the bottom. But what I want to do is do the trees and the outline of the triangle border all the way across and see how it looks with the top. Like it'll only be 2 rows over. So I'm hoping that because there'll be, snowflakes and stuff up here, everything will look even because nothing is perfectly lined up on the sides. So that's what I'm hoping will fix my mistake. And then that means that I can continue to use all of the chart as my guideposts. I just will kind of ignore the spacing up here and kind of place things according to the correct version of the chart, which I think will give me the best results rather than, because I really don't want to rip out. I would have to rip out like all of this if I want to fix my mistake, and I just don't want to do that. So I think I'm just going to keep stitching everything as called for, ignoring my mistake, and see how it looks and turns out. And if I end up having to rip some out to make it look nice, that's fine. But I don't think I'm going to make the same mistake on the bottom because I feel like that would just call more attention to it and be harder for me to stitch this chart. And I feel like I would just put it in timeout. So, and I don't want that to happen. So I think I'm going to keep plodding along using the chart. And we'll see how it goes. But for now, I need to get online and order a green MPI silk from somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so that's my Quaker Snowflakes. And then my last whip of the week was a new start, and I started the Big Hearted Tiny Towne from Heart and Hand. I mean, this is just too cute, and I got this last week in the mail with almost all of the flosses kitted up from Steph at Keepsakes. Thanks, Stephanie. And yeah, I just felt like starting it the other night. So yeah, like let me grab, like what am I doing? I'm showing you cross stitch. I started Big Hearted Tiny Towne on 36 count Vintage Country Mocha with all of the called for floss. And I think it's so cute. I like to backstitch as I go because I feel like then I can really see all the details, and I think this chart is so cute and the backstitch really adds so much. So yeah, love this one. Obviously I'm not going to have it like done and displayed by next week for Valentine's Day, but I just want to work on it. I did go to Hobby Lobby the other night, but I was with Rob, so I didn't have like a ton of time to look around because I kind of wanted to find some sort of container like that, but size to fit the tiny towns, so I can do a similar type of finish. I didn't see anything as we were like zipping through the store to get what I actually needed, but I'll have to go back alone sometime when I can like fully shop around and find something. If anyone has any suggestions or ideas for an interchangeable finish for Tiny Towne, let me know. Or should I just finish them all into little drums that I set out? Except I feel really not good at a drum finish, but maybe I can try it again. The only drum finish I've ever done was that early Christmas morning that Blackbird Designs from last Christmas. And it's cute. But I'm not the best drum finisher. So the idea of doing 3, probably 4. I'm sure there's going to be another Tiny Towne coming out. Doing all those drums might not be my cup of tea, but anyways, that was my last cross stitch whip of the week. Okay, so those are my cross stitch whips, but I also worked on 2 quilts this week. I've definitely felt my quilty bug coming back to me, which is awesome. And I started a new quilt. I know, I'm not done with my single girl quilt yet, but I did start a new quilt with that Stay Gold panel from Ruby Star Society that I showed you guys a few weeks ago. And then I got the Fat Quarter bundle last week, and then I couldn't help myself. I have a pattern I like, so I am using this Mocha Ruby Star Society, I don't know, free quilt pattern. I'll put a link to it in the description box below. And it's just kind of a big, what do you call it? sawtooth star. It's like my favorite block. I don't know why I forget the name of it. It's like a big sawtooth star using the squares from the panel. And so to kind of kick it off and get started, what I did was I cut out all of my favorite, well, I cut out every single square of the panel, but then I decided which ones were going to go in my quilt. So you can pick like 25 of them. I'm just showing you a few. But so I picked the 25 that I wanted. Let's see, what other cute ones are my favorite ones. So this panel is from Melanie Miller, and it's kind of celebrating, I think, 10 years of fabric design. I think that's what she said. And so it has just some like classic designs from her dating back 10 years. So before she was doing Ruby Star, she was doing Cotton and Steel. Before Cotton and Steel, it wasn't Riley Blake. I don't remember, but she had fabric lines before Cotton and Steel as well. And so I've had several fabrics from all of those fabric lines. And so just recognizing, I'm trying to find, sorry, some of the squares that came from fabric lines that I've had in the past. Well, okay. So the typewriter for sure is one of them. And the little like Viewmaster and the telephone. And let's see, the Mustang. So I just really picked all of my favorites as the center blocks. And so then now my next step is to go through the fat quarter bundle and pick out what will be the like points of the stars on all of these squares. So I've got all my stuff just stored in one of these big scrapbook bins. This is just a 12 by 12 scrapbook bin. And so I've got, you know, all my fat quarters that are just so pretty. Yeah. And I've got all my leftover panel squares that I'm not going to use. I think there's like 42. So I must have like almost 20. I have like 18 of them left over. So 17. So I can make a whole other project. But anyways, that's the quilt I started. I just got to cut the panel cut and prepped, really. So these are all 8.5 inch squares ready to be sewn into sawtooth stars. I just got to get all my fat quarters cut out now. But I'm going to try and be good and wait till I get single girl quilt done before I dive too much deeper into this one. But I had to get it started. Okay, and then I also worked on my single girl quilt this week. Of course, I'm trying to make 7 of the blocks a week and get them all done in the next couple of weeks and sew the quilt top together. I think I only made 5 or 6 this week because I did distract myself with getting that other quilt started. I think I made 6, so I'm only like 1 off schedule. It's fine. I'm over halfway there. I've got like 25 or 26 of my quilt blocks out of 48 done. And this is what each of the blocks looks like. And I actually filmed myself sewing up one of these to kind of show you guys what it looks like when I sew one of these little wedges, quarter rings together. So yeah, I'll go ahead and let that play. So that doesn't look so bad in fast forward, right? That was like 2 minutes, and but it was like 20 minutes of footage. So it takes me about 20 minutes to get each one of those blocks sewn up, which is why I'm kind of moving slow on it. It's 2 seams and it's like 20 minutes because there's a lot of pinning and precise placement and then some precise ironing and then all again. And then you have a finished block. So I think I have about 22-ish more to sew together. So I should be done in 3 weeks, or maybe sooner if I can sit down and sew for longer than like an hour at a time. But yeah, that's what I've been working on quilt wise. Okay, so I got some happy mail and I got a little bit of haul, and then we're gonna do a giveaway. So let's get into it. I got a package this week from my friend Joanne, and I met Joanne at the Kansas City Quilter Station retreat in September. She and I sat next to each other in the front row, which was the best seat in the house, and she's super sweet. And then we got to hang out together in the airport because both of our flights were delayed, which was super fun. But anyways, Joanne saw me, she was watching my video where somebody had sent me this silver needle, a Merry Pair chart, and she DM'd me and she was like, oh Liz, I got that club kit too, and I know I'm not going to stitch it. She's like, is there any reason you want 2 of them or to give one away? And I was like, yes please. So she sent me her extra, or her kit that she knew she wasn't going to stitch, and I'm actually going to give this one to my sister Allison because she has been stitching up a storm and has actually completely finished stitching her snowman ornament, her Satsuma Street snowman ornament. I'll text her and see if I can get a picture to put in. And she just needs to do the beads. And so we just haven't had a second to sit together, and, you know, she wants me to show her how to do the beads and stuff. So even though I feel like the instructions in the Satsuma Street chart are excellent, but, you know, she wants help from the master. So who am I to begrudge her? Anyway, so she has hers almost done, and I showed her this one. And so, yeah, I think she's going to stitch the second one of these. I'm definitely stitching the first kit I got. So anyways, if her and my mom end up not wanting to stitch this, I think she already said she did, but if for some reason, then I'll include it as a giveaway sometime. But thank you, Joanne, for thinking of me. I love it. The second bit of happy mail I got was pretty exciting because a couple weeks ago, somebody from the Fat Quarter Shop reached out and was like, hi, I watch your Flosstube videos. Would you ever want to be on our mailing list for kind of showing off some of our new products and reviewing some of our products on your channel? And I was like, yes, please. I shop at Fat Quarter Shop all the time. And I actually have since probably 2005. So I got into quilting in college. I've told the story on some quilting videos I've done before, but I got into quilting in college and I worked at Hancock Fabrics, which sadly I don't think any Hancock Fabrics exists anymore. They don't here in Austin. I don't know if they exist in other places. They went bankrupt like when I was working there like 15 years ago. But yeah, so I worked at Hancock Fabrics in college. I always knew how to sew my whole life, but I'd never been like a quilter until I got to college and started working in the quilting department at Hancock Fabrics and met this wonderful lady who was one of my coworkers who showed me kind of a lot of beginner basic quilting patterns and kind of taught me some techniques. And then I discovered the world of like online quilt fabric shopping, and I found Fat Quarter Shop, which was located in Manchac, Texas at the time, or at least that was the return address, which was like 15 minutes away from my college. And I was like, oh my gosh, and they're so close, stuff would get here so quick, and just kind of was obsessed. But I was like a very broke college student, so I had to shop there like very sparingly. It was mostly Hancock Fabrics with my discount, but if I like knew, like Amy Butler was big at the time, trying to think who else. I don't know, but if there was like a fabric designer, Denise Schmidt, when Denise Schmidt like started releasing fabrics in the mid to late 2000s, you know, I would get online and online shop for that stuff. But it's a very long story about how excited I was that Fat Quarter Shop was like, do you want to review any of our stuff? And I was like, yes. So anyways, they sent me a quilt pattern this time, which I think is great because they must watch me. They must know I quilt too. So they sent me this really cute quilt pattern called Evening Primrose, which I really love this pattern, and I kind of already have some plans for this. So I'm going to hold on to this and I'll, oh wait, let me share with you. This is a $9 paper pattern. I'm not sure if it's available in PDF. I know sometimes their charts are, or their patterns are, but maybe for the new ones, I think they just do paper and then it's like PDF later. But this is a super cute evening primrose pattern, which there's the, oh, the glare, but there's kind of the bigger version. So anyways, I think this is a super cute pattern and I totally want to make it, and I have an idea for it that I'll get to in just a minute. So thanks, Fat Quarter Shop. I really appreciate it. Okay, so haul. I already mentioned the ring light. That was my most exciting piece of haul this week because I can film more videos now. Hello. I also got two packages from the Fat Quarter Shop of stuff I bought. I got 2 of my Fat Quarter clubs this week, and it's making me realize, speaking of quilt patterns, that I need to start assigning some of these Fat Quarter bundles quilt patterns, or seeing if my mom has an idea for them, because I have too many Fat Quarter bundles in my house. So I need to start making sure they get used. And anyways, so I got the Mocha Prairie Days Petite Fat Quarter Bundle, and this is October 2021. So these are both older club kits that were delayed that just both showed up this week. So this is a super cute patriotic fabric bundle, Prairie Days. Here are all the fabrics. Very cute. And then I got my July 2021 Ruby Star Society fabric bundle. So this is a lot of Melody Miller Stay Gold, which is cool because if I need any extras of a particular print, I have a few extras in here. And then I think it's also Towne. I don't know who designed Towne, but there's also, there's the mix of a few different fabrics in here. And then these always come with a matching coordinating thread, which I love and find super useful. And then they come with a pattern. So super, super cute. So that was my haul this week. Okay, and now I also want to do a giveaway because I hit 13,000 subscribers, I think 2 videos ago. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who has subscribed, watched, liked, commented, just followed me on Instagram and never double tapped or ever commented. You just like seeing my post pop up. Thank you. Just I don't know. Thank you guys for enjoying what I make and wanting to hear me talk about it and post pictures about it and post videos about it and ramble at your face. I so appreciate it. So I wanted to do a little bit of a giveaway. I have a lot of nice charts and things people have sent me to give away, but I'm going to save, I think, all the charts and things for when I hit 15,000, if that happens. If it doesn't, then I'll start distributing those sooner. But I think for now, I'm going to do an Etsy gift card giveaway because I can just send that electronically. It gets there instantly, and I know you guys love it. So I can't do 13 gift cards because it's tax season and paying for wedding season. But what I'm going to do is 3 $25 Etsy gift cards this week are up for grabs. So yeah, if you want to be entered to win a $25 Etsy gift card, you just have to use the word Etsy in your comment. Super simple, super easy. You need to be a subscriber to my channel and like the video and be over 18. I don't think I have anyone who watches these videos who's under 18 unless, you know, your kids are watching with you. I look at my demographics sometimes on like the YouTube analytics page, and I think less than 1% are under the age of 25. So, yeah. So that's where my numbers are at. Anyways, thank you guys. This is where I ramble. What else do I have to talk about? I'm getting very excited for the next couple of months. We have our trip to Vegas to kind of finalize some wedding planning happening in 3 weeks. Ooh, which means I need to look up the schedule, like the open schedule for, what's that cross stitch? Stitcher's Paradise. I need to make sure I plan a trip to Stitcher's Paradise while I'm there. Ooh, because that'll be right Oh, it'll be right before market. I was gonna say I could shop market releases. No. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, actually, speaking of LNS, San Marcos is getting a new cross stitch shop. So, Central Texas ladies, the Golden Needle used to be in Florida, and she had said she was going to relocate to New Braunfels, but she ended up finding a storefront in San Marcos, which is even closer to Austin. So San Marcos is, if you're in South Austin, probably 30 minutes away. I'm in Cedar Park, so it's like 45 to an hour away, but still, I love to have another needlework shop within driving distance, like reasonable driving distance. So for sure, on some trips down to San Antonio or whatever, like I'm stopping in that store. So I can't wait. I think, oh, I can't remember when she said she was opening, maybe a few weeks. She's like getting her website and inventory up to date and stuff, but yeah. So Golden Needle, she posted in the Ostitch, like Austin area stitchers Facebook group, and then somebody else DM'd me. I can't remember where they saw her post, but anyways, yes, I know she has a Facebook page, and then goldenneedle.com is her website. So I will definitely be checking out her shop as soon as I'm down in the San Marcos area. So I'm very excited about that. What else is going on wedding wise? Oh yeah, we're doing engagement pictures when we go in 3 weeks. So hopefully I'll be able to share those with you, you know, kind of soon after we get them. I'm excited about it. Also nervous. I just like, I'm not the kind of person that like has a photographer take pictures of them. Like our family was never one. I mean, we, as a kids, like sometimes my mom and my aunt would hire like a photographer to do like Christmas card photos, but I was like 12, right? So, I don't know. I think I'm a little bit nervous about having somebody that I'm paying pose us and, I don't know, try to take nice pictures of us and me like ruining it. I don't know. I'm not good at photos. So I'm excited though. I'm excited to have nice, pretty professional photos with my honey bear. Doors open because the cats have been coming in and out. So I think I can hear him in the kitchen. So I'm kind of wondering if he heard me call him my honey bear. Don't call him that ever. I'm just saying it to be funny. Okay, so I've reached the point of the video where I'm rambling nonsense and I should wrap it up and go. Thank you guys so much for joining me this week. This was a really fun video for me to film and put together. I hope you all enjoyed it. Enter the giveaway and come back next Sunday.